guys, Paul McLean here. Welcome to the podcast. Today, guys, I've got a very special guest that's going to serve you and serve you well. You know, my chief objective is to do my best to provide some value to you. And I do that a lot of times in a form of having a great guest on it. And we've had a lot of people on that have been here for years. You know, they've seen great success. Some have created 7, 8 different figures in income that they've been able to produce by building a business and partner with integrity and all these things. And a lot of times I think we get, we lose what it looked like as day one, a day one person kind of getting started, right? And today, guys, I've got a very special guest on with me that's going to really speak into how to go out and create success in that first 30 days of really being committed to this. Because the thing is this, without commitment, I mean, odds are it's not going to work out, right? In fact, I had this one person that's like, I'm pretty committed. I said, how would that be if like you were like, your spouse was like, hey, I'm 99% committed to you. like, would you be okay with that? Like all year long, I was 99% committed to you. There was just that one night, night that I regret, but it was good. It was 99%, this is good. Right. And, but it wouldn't work, right? You'd probably end in divorce and it would not be a successful marriage. And it's the same thing with anything in life, right? In this business, you have to be 100% committed. And so guys, we're really going to jump into commitment, delayed gratification, some choices and habits that will help you launch this thing the right way. And to do that, I got my good buddy on, Todd J. Todd, good to have you, bro. Good to have you on, man. And hey, how many families did you help last month, your first real full-time month?
What is it? 23, 22?
That was 3 weeks in.
3 weeks in.
3 weeks in.
So I think I'm probably up in the 30 range now.
I think so. It'd be weird if you didn't. If you do so 30 families in 30 days, the first 30 days. Now, Todd, I want to kind of really start with the month. This last month was your first month being full-time. It was the first time you committed to this business. Now, prior, if you want to just kind of give a quick backstory of what you were doing for work, what that looked like from your schedule and how you weren't really committed. You were just kind of hoping this thing would work out. And then what took place that caused you to create that commitment. Let's kind of start there.
Okay. So a little bit about my history is my family owned and operated a crane company. I'd been there for 17 years working full-time, running that business. And one day I reached out to Paul and decided, hey, what could I do to make some extra income at my house? How's it look? I went through the class, passed the test, and then started kind of coming on to FFL part-time, kind of just straddling the line, so to speak, just 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of doing it. And then within time, I finally decided this is the business I want to be in. This is where I want to be. My heart's in this, serving people. I'm in it. So that's where I want to be. So that's when I decided from going construction, which is very demanding, long hours, long days, cold, hot, into rolling into this business and serving families full time.
Dude, was it kind of scary going, because you did well, you had a very good income, working in your prior position, and then to let that go and to go full time where you really hadn't seen much success yet because you didn't really have the time and to commit to, because you were like, I think you said you're working 100 hours plus a week a lot of these times. Was it kind of, were you scared at all? Like, how did you feel making that jump?
100%.
How did you deal with that? How did you
belief, calling in my life to do something different and to be a different person. So in belief in myself, I knew that I can work hard because I've done it for 17 years. I put in hours and hours of work. So I know I could commit. I might not be the greatest, but I could commit to the workload. Like no matter what, I could go in there and work hard. So that's kind of even the nerve-wracking, not knowing what was going to happen with it. But stepping in and fully just kind of committing to, like, I know I could be the first in the office and the last to leave. I'll commit to that. And I know I'll absorb knowledge and find the people to absorb from. And knowing that, I know it'll translate into success in the business.
That's so good, man. Because I think that a lot of times when somebody gets started or they're getting ready to step into something new, they go back and they find reasons why they're not going to see success. They kind of let that fear or anxiety, which is not abnormal, like I mean, I guess if you were single, 19, nothing to, then it's like,
All right.
I mean, but dude, you got, kids, you got 3 kids and you're married. I mean, like it is a jump. But I think that a lot of times we'll let that emotion, really take so much precedence and control over us that we'll go back and start looking at things that validate that fear and emotion. So we'll say, you know what, God, I don't know if I could be successful because back in my past, I failed at that, or I struggled with this, or this was hard for me to overcome, or I couldn't step out of this and I couldn't conquer this and this, or whatever. And then we let that really kind of dictate our steps. And now we're almost setting ourselves up to lose before we've even begun,
Yeah.
man. It's like, remember what Mike Tyson would say? What do he say? He said, I could tell if I was going to win or lose by just looking at the man in his eyes or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
Because when he would look at that dude, that guy, he either let the fear of like looking at all the highlights of Tyson rocking people and then going back and thinking like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And he'd go back and forecast it. And finally, the guy that didn't have that same look in his eye, he didn't do that. He probably went back and found all these reasons of why, man, I can conquer this dude.
Yeah.
Like, why not me? Why not now? Like, yeah, he's got some, but I can take him out.
Well, and to piggyback on that, Paul, is one of my favorites is Kobe Bryant. And the fear is going to be there no matter what. Like, it's something new. Like, that's completely rational mindset, is to have that fear. But it's the fear of failure. If I'm successful at it, I still get, and this is from Kobe Bryant, I'm still going to have to wake up the next day and do the same thing that made me successful. If I fail, I'm still going to have to wake up the next day and figure out what I failed at and get better and figure out what it's going to take to be successful. So no matter what, you still have to wake up the next day, whether you're successful or you fail at it. That next day, it's still the next day, and you still got to wake up and do what you got to do to be successful.
I love that, dude. And what I would say to that point, then I want to ask you about commitment, because I really see commitment for you. It's not like the typical, oh, I'm committed, where we say it. I mean, I see it. You work in the office, here in Apple Valley, and I see the commitment. I see when I get here at 6 a.m. and I'm like, what the heck, man? I ain't the first one here right now. I mean, I see the commitment, dude. The investing in resources. And so I want you to talk about, what are some things that you believe have helped you really kind of put that commitment at the right level. Before I do that, I want to just say that everybody on here has the ability to go back and find something in their past that will validate and affirm their success that they want to have. And everybody also has the ability to go back in their past and find something that's going to validate the fact that this won't work. And that's up to us to go back and have the right backcasting. And so I would just encourage everybody on here to just ask yourself that. Have you gone back and found an attribute, a quality, a time that you can say, because I did that then, and God was there with me then, I can therefore do this here? Because that's what you said, Todd. You said, yes, I had that, but I just realized that I can control my work ethic. And I've had many times in my life where my work ethic, it'll outlast anything. It'll build the skill eventually, and eventually I'll see success. And you rested upon that and allowed that to be what you held on to move forward. You didn't allow the fear to find something bad and then hold on to that, which really would disable you to move forward. And I think that's important. But talk about, like, how did you really get that commitment just deep in you? Because I think that's so essential, man, to be successful. Like, what are some things that you did and what people can do to really increase their level of commitment?
So coming into the business, I knew I didn't know, like, starting off new, I'm not going to know everything. So one thing with falling back on commitment and work ethic is I committed to myself coming in that I was going to come in early. And luckily with Family First Life, we have so many resources and so many people available to us to build a business and start off at the right foot. So before I would start on my schedule, looking at my schedule for the week, I would say, okay, I'm going to be up. I'm going to be at the office at 5:30, and I'm going to utilize that time to just be able to get some training, to go into my daily routine, and then to get into the training podcast. I'd reach out to, Paul or my upline and just get videos or things I could plug into with things I was struggling to try to just sharpen my tools. And starting there, that led to having a confidence to go into my day and just like, okay, well, my mind's right for the day. I'm already plugged in. I feel confident, whether it's mortgage protection, final expense. I would find a video that where I'm trying to go in that day is what was already in my mind. And then I would jump on my day with that confidence built. Like, okay, I've been training at this for an hour and a half. I'm ready to go on the phones. I've been watching Paul do, phone script. I've been watching videos of John and different people doing phone script. I feel good. So then I would just go start my day dialing and booking appointments and it started with that commitment to waking up, being here early, and just get some, absorb some knowledge, so to speak, in the day. So my day started out right.
I love that, dude. So it's almost like what is your pregame regimen, right? And I think everybody can maybe take that and evaluate, like, what is your pregame regimen? What do you do before the game begins? And that's important, man. Like, to get your mind right. And I think every
100%.
professional athlete, and you played at a high level with football. You're a quarterback. We got to experience that at the Turkey Bowl on
Turkey Bowl.
Thursday.
Yeah.
You had some good balls,
Yeah.
man. But every team has that. Like, everybody's got crap that goes on in their personal life, but a good player knows that they need to intentionally have a good pregame regimen to turn that switch off and compartmentalize and say, this is now my task at hand. And I think that's what everybody should be looking at is, what is your pregame regimen? What do you do before the game starts? What do you do before you hop on the phones and start making dials?
Yeah.
I think commitment, man, is one of those words that's like, it's like the nasty big C word, like, commitment. But I think that has to come before anything good comes, like, you have to be committed. I think there's different environments, whether it's conferences and meetings, and that really kind of helps somebody say, I'm going to be committed. I'm going to commit to this thing. Is there anything else that you believe kind of helped really drive that commitment or level up your commitment to making this thing work and saying, hey, I'm not going to just say I want to be successful, but I'm committed to going through the pain, the sacrifice, the trials, the struggles to see it through? Because that's true commitment.
Yeah.
Right. True commitment is not just, I'm committed to being successful. No, I'm committed to the long nights, the early hours. That's commitment, is the pain.
And the other side of that is wholeheartedness and like a willingness to come in. So with the open mind. So when I came in, I'm not trying to make like I know everything or be something I'm not. I really reached out to people around me to try to get better, and just whatever I was advised or somebody that's doing it at a better level would tell me, I would absorb that and just really have an open mind to say, okay, I'm not going to try to do it my own way because I suck at this. It's new to me. So I'm going to find people that are better at it or doing it at a high level, and I'm going to try to absorb what they're willing to give me as information, and just really being committed to absorbing that knowledge as far as, okay, what are you doing right? What are you doing right? And not trying to make a conclusion that I would draw, but trying to just be open-minded about what I need to learn or what people are telling me, and kind of just absorb knowledge and continue to pick up things here. Or, I dealt with this client. Let me reflect back to somebody and run the scenario with somebody. Yeah, you sucked here, or go this route, and just kind of absorbing that information. And that helped me like commit to this, is just being open-minded and willing to learn.
I love that, dude. And now a question I got, Todd, because I think that that is very important. Like, you can, the quality of your life is really dependent on the quality of your questions. The questions you ask others and the questions you ask yourselves. And if you're open-minded and you're not guarded, and you don't have this ego and pride that says, I don't want to ask, that stuff will really, it'll keep you from the growth that you can have. Was it difficult, man, being successful in the career that you were in for so long, where everybody probably came to you and asked the questions, right? To kind of go back to that baby stage, so to speak, as far as like, man, I need to ask, I need some help, I need to figure this out. Was that difficult?
Yeah. I mean, it was a step back, but it's also being in that position of being the one helping people. I had to switch roles to, instead of being the one to be spewing the information, it was the one to absorb. So like, I put myself back in position of guys I've taught, like, okay, how did I get them better? Well, the best way to do it is to ask questions. And like, one of the funniest stories I have about that is, you had me go golfing, and Bobby Bridges was with us, and we're eating lunch. and Bobby was asking questions that could possibly help agents, with product, what would be better. And he's looking at me talking, and I just passed my test. I just passed it. I knew nothing. And Bobby's saying stuff, and he's looking at me asking the questions. And I looked at Bobby straight in the eyes, and I told him, Bobby, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, bro. I said, you're speaking Mandarin to me right now. And he's like, what? And I was like, I just passed my test. I know nothing. And he just started laughing. And then, but in that moment, he realized this guy doesn't know nothing, but he has the courage to say he doesn't know nothing.
Right. Yeah.
To look not look cool. He doesn't know anything. So he actually slowed down and started breaking that down, like product and what he was talking about, so I could understand it. And right there, that was kind of a moment for me in the business. Okay, I'm gonna have to be the one to kind of go out on a limb here and absorb this and get the answers and be willing to, risk it all.
Well, I think the only person that gets hurt when you're trying to head fake is a person that's doing the personal head faking, meaning that when it's like when I role play with an agent and they give me what they think they should say.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you say that? No, but dude, give me what you say, bro. That doesn't help. So if you can't be vulnerable and tell people where you're at, and they can't help you take you to where you want to go, because you got to first meet the person where they're actually at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's important, man, to make sure that when you're communicating with somebody that can help you, that you're communicating with authenticity and letting them know, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is my actual phone script. This is what my in-home actually look like. Not what you think you should have done. Because what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why don't you give them what actually was done, and there could be tweaks, adjustments made from that actual point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Todd, what are you investing into leads right now a week?
I believe I'm at 2,200.
So $2,200 invested in leads.
Yeah.
What's your lead mix up?
So I've been going mortgage protection, direct mailers, final expense direct mailers, and then live campaigns.
Are those second chance or brand new leads, the direct mail?
A mix of both.
Okay, so
I'll have some new rolling, and then I'll do some recycled.
And then you've also got the real time campaign. Okay, which, by the way, phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I get text messages every single day where somebody's like, man, I helped another family. Yeah. It came in, boom, it was simple. So good lead mix. Schedule wise, are you doing telesales, in-home, both?
It's a both. It's a mix. So I've been working on upping my telesales, but as far as I run Kern County, San Diego County 2 days a week, and then I also am running telesales in between, and San Bernardino, Riverside.
Okay, but your schedule's it's disciplined. You know when I'm doing telesales, when I'm running face-to-face, when I'm booking face-to-face.
Exactly.
Okay, and I think that's important when somebody's trying to do a hybrid approach. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's wrong if you don't have it planned. If it's just by the whim, just kind of what you feel like. No, it's got to be structured, right?
100%.
This day I'm dialing for this day, this time block I'm doing telesales. Make sure it's all structured.
And one thing I did learn with the hybrid too is what any agents out there that need to might be able to use this is you also have to be willing to adjust. So if I have 2 Kern County leads that come in and I was planning on running Kern, well, I'm not going to be able to get to Kern because I have 2 leads. I'm not going out there for 2 appointments, but so being able to roll with it and say, okay, I'm still going to run appointments that day, but I'm going to have to flip flop or move so I have the right amount of lead flow to be able to be successful in that county.
Yeah.
So you definitely have your week structured, but also look at your lead flow and say, okay, this is how I'm going to be able to run it successfully.
That's good, dude. And I think that's something that for everybody on here, just kind of, and you could reach out and ask these questions too, to the person that you're working with. But if you've got 2 appointments tomorrow and it's a 3-hour drive, you're better off rescheduling those 2 appointments for the next day and then having the full day to book yourself 6-7 more appointments. I had this one agent, he's like, I got 1 appointment today. I'm like, what we can do? He's like, I'm gonna door knock. Do you have enough leads? He's like, yeah, I didn't. I'm like, dude, why don't you, why would you go plan a whole day of door knocking 3 hours away? Why don't you just reschedule that 1 appointment?
I've done it.
Dial, book
100%.
4 more appointments, and then door knock around in between the appointments to get those extra sales. But don't go door knock for just 9 hours.
And I think to come back to that, it's probably emotion. You're like, I booked an appointment, I want to go, and then you're all hyped up on emotion instead of being logical in that moment.
It's true.
You're all hyped. Oh, I got one, especially coming out of the gate new. I got one. I get to go. I'm
Right.
going to go run it. And then you're like, what am I doing? You know? And that takes a little bit to like figure
Sure.
out, like, what am I doing? I could move that appointment and, you know, get the right amount to see that success in that day.
Yeah, absolutely. What Todd, building the business is also you did that right out of the gate. Like, how many people do you have that are in class, got a license? What does your team look like?
So I got what, 3 agents under me, and I got 3 going through classes right now.
So 6. Do you just, is it warm market, or are you just talking to people about it?
Warm market as far as like people I know, and then trying to get a person they know to get into it. But I'm also going to be starting doing more of the marketing and plugging in.
So 6 people. Some of them you directly hired. Some of them you talked to that person about who do they know so they could hire, and that's kind of how you set it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it, man. I love it. Well, good stuff, dude. Guys, I appreciate you joining. I hope this served you and served you well. I mean, there's a lot of good things that Todd just broke down, and the one thing I think that's essential is how coachable, man. Like, and that's coachability equals freedom. I mean, if you're like, I'm coachable, but you keep hearing podcasts or training, or you're working with somebody and they keep telling you what to do, but you're not yet doing it, you're not coachable.
No.
Hello, you're not.
Yeah.
Coachable is like, I don't have to worry about how I feel or think about that. I'm going to do it anyways. And that frees my emotions and my mind up to just execute with excellence in 100% in that very thing that was told me for me to do. Right. That's a big deal. And last thing I'd say is this, as we look at going to the end of the year, this is such a big time to set yourself up for a massive 2023. The way you end a lot of times is how you begin. And so for everybody on here, this is a time where you start to really say, hey, how can I get committed? What must I do to drive my commitment up? Because it is essential. I'll give you this quick story that I read, and I thought it was very applicable to getting your commitment up. It talks about these monks, and they sail all over Japan. And they sail over Japan to go to this massive mountain, right? And they set up this new program for these monks. In order to get into this temple, they have to shave their heads, they have to wear these robes, and then they have to put sandals on and go around this trail. And it's an intense trail. In fact, the trail's 100 days. They got to cover 2,500 miles. So every day it's a marathon. Every day is a marathon. And the thing is this, along this whole process, there's tombstones all over these trails from the monks that have died. Like, the fatality is significant, right? And it's like when they walk past that tombstone, it makes them realize, like, man, I'm committed. And, you know, that's true commitment, right? Think about what people have to do to become a monk, right? And I think, put it in perspective, when I was reading this, like, if we could just commit to some of these things, it's not nearly as painful as walking around this mountain, this intense mountain where you got to go for 100 days, 2,500 miles. That's a big deal, right? And so, but what they wanted, the prize before them, they're willing to pay the price, and their action will show and reveal their commitment. What does your action show? Does it reveal the fact that you're really committed to pay the price? Because there's a price tag to go out there and see the success that you want to see for your family. And this is one of those times where you sit back and say, hey, I need to interrogate my reality. What does my daily agenda look like? Does that reflect that I'm truly committed? Because it's all relative, right? And you start reading stories like this, I love it because it gives me perspective. Like, man, I could go out and be more committed to growth, be more committed to serve and to help, because look at the price tag that a lot of these people, you know, put in place. And so how can we create more opportunity cost on ourselves? Like, if we don't go do this, right, what is it going to cost us? Right. And create this right perspective to go out there and take the right appropriate action. So, guys, I hope this helps. Todd, thank you so much, man.
Really.
Appreciate you hopping on, dude. That was really good. Guys, go out there, make it a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.